Let me share my screen. And we've got a couple of slides, and I'll jump right into the agenda. Give me one sec. And can everyone see my screen? There should be an agenda in PowerPoint.
Yes, we
You
can.
can see it.
Perfect. And of course, I have to swap. And here we go. So yeah, just a very quick overview or a very quick agenda. We're going to start with a high-level overview of our integration between UiPath and Qlik. So Dalton and I are both going to talk about a little bit about sort of the integration, what it represents, what you can do with it. Dalton's going to provide a platform walkthrough of Qlik and the associated components, sort of end-to-end from a designer experience, what you're going to use, and especially what we're using today as part of our live demo. And I'm going to do the corresponding walkthrough on the UiPath side, where it's pretty simple on both ends. And I'm just going to walk through what you do in Studio and what you do in Orchestrator to enable that connection. And the really fun part that we want to spend most of our time on today is going to be to walk through how we actually built an automation using both platforms and actually running it live. So we've got a lot of moving parts, nothing could go wrong, and we're going to run it live and spend plenty of time at the end talk about use cases a bit, but especially on Q&A. So if you have any questions at any point, please throw them into the chat, but we're also going to save some time at the end just for dedicated Q&A. So with all of that said, I'm going to jump into just our high level section. Let me get this out of the way. So at a very high level, Qlik offers active intelligence. It's a fantastic tool. I've been using it hands-on for a few months, but especially this week, and it's a fantastic tool for gathering data, structuring data, but especially providing actionable insights, via dashboards. And a lot of what we're going to talk about here is if I've got a dashboard, if I'm a Qlik user, what can I do with UiPath? And a lot of what Qlik offers is execution and automation, based on what I'm doing as an analyst looking at a dashboard. And UiPath extends that. So UiPath can then extend the reach of that automation to include legacy applications, to execute in just about any application that we have the ability to interact with. And you'll see that it's a pretty seamless integration between Qlik and UiPath, but in today's demo, we're also going to send information back to Qlik. So there's a few ways you can get creative with your automation. So again, at a very, very high level, what we're covering here today is Qlik's ability to analyze, just about any type of data, and UiPath's ability to augment that data set a bit and, incorporate maybe something from mainframes or legacy applications or documents or other tools without APIs. But we're especially going to focus on how we can execute on things that happen, events that occur within Qlik. Dalton set up a couple of examples of triggering UiPath from, just contextual actions within Qlik. And at a very high level, again, the architecture of what we're discussing here, and Dalton's about to give a walkthrough of the Qlik pieces, but, at a high level, I've got my data lakes, my data storage, all my different data sources that can include legacy applications, that can include, websites, public websites, internal websites, mainframes, terminals, semi or unstructured documents, etc. And our idea is UiPath can read from some of those documents and some of those data sources as part of our automations, and then Qlik is going to be tied to the majority of the data sources. So whatever I set up within Qlik Application Automation and Qlik Sense can then pull from that data and also include what UiPath helps out with. And then once my automation is ready to be run, I can execute it via Qlik, I can trigger it via Qlik, and then UiPath can do whatever it has to do on the back end with unattended robots. And that could, again, touch just about any system. We've got an example with SAP Ariba and ServiceNow today, and we'll walk through a little bit of sort of what that means and how we set it up in just a few minutes. But Dalton, did you want to provide any just sort of overview of the Qlik side of it? And then did you want to kind of just walk us through the Qlik application automation and Sense applications?
I sure will, man. Yeah, let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Yep, and you should be able to share now.
Okay. And share screen, share the right screen here. So just wanted to give you a very quick overview. I mentioned on social media, I am not all about slideshows. I'm more about actually getting into it, especially for a technical audience like this, to make sure that it all makes sense. You can see marketing slides and sales slides all the time, but I did want to help you understand what Qlik is. The common misperception in the marketplace is that Qlik is a visual analytics tool. And we often get compared to other, pie chart creating tools. We are actually an active intelligence platform. And I do mean platform in every nature of that word, from data ingestion and integration, including CDC streaming. So we can take data from mainframes and on-prem legacy databases, move that data into the cloud. We have data warehouse automation and data lake creation and automation, so that as changes are streaming through, you've got an active data pipeline that can then be consumed. It can be consumed by us or other business intelligence tools. We also can maintain all that in a catalog, so that you can prepare data sets and build other data sets, supersets. You could parse down and narrow down data sets and kind of shop for the data like you shop for everything else. You can go through that and actually generate applications right out of there in our platform as well as others. As an analytics tool, you could use this for guided analytics, self-service analytics. These things everything that you see could be embedded in other things because we are an open API. It can be consumed on mobile because it was built for mobile first. So all the screens that you see are responsive. As things were shrink or grow or change to a phone and go landscape mode, portrait mode, everything will change and handle that. We've got natural language processing, natural language generation, reporting. And of course, the big one that we're going to talk about today, besides analytics and data science, is going to be automation. What can we do with that data to take action on it? Because all of this stuff, fantastic. I've got zeros and ones here, zeros and ones there, zeros and ones over here. But what am I really going to do with it that's going to help my business grow, right? IT guys are like, hey, my business is moving zeros from one place to the other. But that's not everybody's, right? The way that we move data through our replicate product to get that stream going, I just wanted to show you kind of that user interface so you'd understand. This is pretty seamless and easy. I identify my source. I identify my target of where I want to go to. I can go through some table selection. If there are transformations I would want to do, I can go ahead and apply those things. What the demo that we're going to show you today is regarding SAP's data. And so I've moved that data, including change data capture, out of SAP, and that is moving along into a Redshift serverless environment. The Compose product, which then takes that raw operational data store and then automates a warehouse, does a few things. I identify my warehouse, I identify my source, check. And then I can build my model. And what I wanted to show you here just really quickly, it was that we can convert using metadata those 5-character German shorthand codes. So if you are an SAP techie, report writer, you're used to seeing things like that. That's not human readable English for most of us. And what we're trying to do with analytics is get out of the, oh, Bob, can you write me a report to get me blah, 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 blah. And Bob knows that he really uses the Begru field, right? The rest of us don't know any of that. This is all automated. So if I were to look at this, I could generate the warehouse based on what my definitions are. And if anything were to change and I have to add fields, subtract fields, I don't have a mountain of technical debt that I've got to go try to find page 9,000 of to make a change to SQL. The SQL can actually get generated, including pre and post. And we can also build a series of data marts out of that data. So we can build sales orders, schedules, billing documents, shipping documents, sales documents, shipment allocation, shipment. We can also do aggregated data warehouse, data marts, so that you could use tools where you just need, hey, I just need the aggregated number. Give me this total sales by the month. The problem with those types of things is then when you say, hey, something doesn't look right, you don't really have the details. So the demo that I'm going to be showing you is pulling from all of these data marts. And I just wanted to kind of show you the interface for those things so that you would understand it. As we get into the demo today, we're going to be calling primarily this automation where I take data from my screen. When I call it, I take these things, I create certain variables that I need to pass to UiPath. And this is a pretty easy process. We've got different connectors that we drag over and use. And for this UiPath connector, I'm using the start job. Mo has been so kind as to go off and build a flow so that those of you who are familiar with UiPath will know what his canvas looks like as he shows you what he's going to do. But I'm going to call that. That starts with a simple, let me establish a connection. And basically we're using kind of a connector token so that I know how to talk to it. And then it says, hey, I can type in a name or I can go browse for things. So when I look at this, I've already gone through a lookup of all of the processes Mo has running out on his orchestrator. And I choose the one I want. And I also choose the folder from where that process will be running, so that if you have different versions of a process in different folders, so you can test and then move into production or whatever, you can change the folder. And all I simply do is identify what input parameters Mo's been expecting from me. I can also see this in more of a JSON flare. If you really just like typing JSON, you can go to that flare. But for most users, it's nice to just kind of see a nice visual interface. And the way that these things get there, I can simply click and choose, hey, I want to pull a variable value. I want to get some value out of a loop. I want something that's output from my call to go get data. And I just paste them in there. So once I've established these, it is then going to call Mo's create incident for Qlik supply chain demo, and we'll be good to go there. Do you want me to go further and actually start showing the demo, Mo?
I think let's walk through just a couple of the corresponding pieces on the UiPath side, and yeah, we can probably jump right into the demo right after that. But
perfect. Yeah, I'll stop sharing. That's why I figured you might probably wanted to get into it.
No, absolutely. And let me share. I'm just going to pull up. This should just take a minute, but I just wanted to show the corresponding parts on Orchestrator and Studio because it is pretty simple. So if you think about what Dalton just showed, all I really need to know is I need to know my UiPath Orchestrator tenant and the folder where my process lives. But the really important part for authentication is within my Orchestrator admin screen, I've got my external applications where I set up OAuth tokens and credentials, for any applications trying to connect to Orchestrator. So I've got all my examples here. There's a couple that we set up for Qlik, but for the demo and for the connection that we're talking about here, all I did was I set up a confidential application with a client ID and a client secret, and it's really as simple as setting that up, knowing your redirect URL. So we've got we've got a callback URL for Qlik, and then I need to provide what Orchestrator permissions I want to grant grant access to. So in this case, I think I picked most, if not all of them, but there's a few bare minimum ones you need around the releases, the processes, and jobs, etc. But all we're going to do from Qlik is we're going to call that process that Dalton just referenced. So if I look up my create incident process here, I've got my automation. And if I click on edit, you'll see the only other really critical piece is my inbound arguments. So I've got input arguments as part of my workflow. And if I pull that up just really quickly in Studio as well, Within my studio workflow, I set up those arguments that the really critical part is these match the key names within Qlik, the way you just saw it on Dalton's screen. So when I'm setting up my automation within Qlik, I define what those keys are, and then those keys are what are being received as arguments within my studio workflow. So what should happen is an event within Qlik, as we're about to go through, will then trigger the corresponding process that we selected within the tenant and the folder that we defined within Qlik. And then these arguments are going to receive data as we set it up within Qlik. So it should be a fairly seamless design experience across both applications. And that's really all we need to get started with the demo that we set up for today. So let me go back to the deck real quick and let me just see if there's anything. So I think Christina, I think it's a good time for a really quick quiz. We've got our Menti quiz. It's a lot of fun. There is a cool prize at the end. So Christina, if you want to pull that up.
Yeah, just a minute to start the presentation. Wait a bit. Okay. Okay. Let me first give the code in chat before starting it. Guys, I'm pasting the code in chat now. Go to www.menti.com, and with this code you will be able to access the quiz room, and after you access it, remain in the quiz room for the next round too. I'm going to share screen now, and we're going to wait for you to join the quiz room. I will give again the code for the second session, but it's best that you do not close the tab if you do not want to place the code in again. Okay, so we have almost 40 people in chat. Let's see how many of you want to join the quiz room to go into competition for the UiPath swag.
And what are the prizes going to be? Are we giving out Mountain Dew Ritas?
No, we're giving out UiPath swag, like this kind of things. So voucher for these are the prizes.
Ooh,
yeah.
Especially these socks are a pretty popular item. And
those are hot.
The bot socks, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's see how many people we have now. We have 13. Okay, come on guys, www.menti.com, and you have just copy paste that code from chat. It's easy. It's you have it here. It's 54531733, and we'll wait for you to join. Okay, so I see we have 16 people, and okay, it's still joining. It's easier if you access from mobile, usually. Okay, let's start the quiz then. So guys, remember for Menti, it's important how fast you answer. What are some things you can do with a Qlik UiPath connector? Start the UiPath automation and pass parameters, only read data from UiPath orchestrator, or there is no UiPath connector in Qlik.
Good job, guys.
Yes, nice attention. Okay, we'll move on now to see the first leaderboard, to see who is leading, and then we'll move on to the second question. Okay, so we have Jules. Oh, fastest too, yeah, with 895 points. Okay.
Tight race.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens within the next question. So be fast, guys. Qlik automations that include UiPath connector actions can only be started via a server console, be started in a variety of ways, including within dashboards, change the color of Dalton's bow tie. Someone knew what bow tie would be on the screen today. Okay. Oh, that's an awesome result. Awesome, guys. Okay, let's see the intermediate leaderboard, and then we'll move back into session.
Whoa.
Yes, we have a change.
Ooh.
Matt.
Yeah, barely.
Okay, Matt. Yeah, nice. And he has the cake too. Good, that's a good sign. Okay, guys, I will stop sharing now and Mo will take the session back and we'll come back with the quiz after the session.
Cool. All right. Let me go back. I think I just have maybe one slide, but yeah, we're gonna jump right into a live demo right after that.
You want me to go ahead and join the Teams meeting now?
Yeah, go ahead, Dalton. We're gonna have a little bit of collaboration inception with a couple of different sharing pieces. So
If you're watching this on your phone, this might be a little bit hard here in a second.
might be harder, but we're still gonna. It should still be accessible on mobile. But no, absolutely. But yeah, really quickly, we did want to talk a little bit about some of the use cases because we saw a lot of great use cases across both industry and department. But from an industry perspective, I think, if you think about everything Dalton just showed, where you've got a lot of data, you've got, you've got application specific dashboards, things like our areas like manufacturing, retail, healthcare, public sector, we saw just endless use cases. And I think in terms of the actions that can occur based on these dashboards, we focused on supply chain today. And I think there's just, as you're watching this, if you have tasks that take place, maybe, after you've found something on a dashboard, after you have a finding, or, you spot a potential anomaly, that's really all of the, I think it's just basically endless possibilities on things that you can do. And so as an example, before we walk into a demo, what we thought about was functionally, it's real easy to talk through. All right, so I set up a dashboard, I collect data from, sources A, B, and C. I kick off a robot, it does something. But from a business standpoint, we thought about, what's a realistic scenario? So if I'm within a supply chain scenario, if I'm a buyer or an analyst and I'm looking at dashboards, it's my job to kind of drill through the data, look through different things and say, hey, something that isn't rules-based, that isn't, just a simple Boolean or binary, condition like our robots generally look for. If I do find something that could be some type of anomaly or error within Qlik, that's where I can then, trigger contextually a UiPath automation. And my automation can look for its logic to basically determine what to do next. So if we provide something like a criticality score for the anomaly that we may have found, or that we found that might be an anomaly, the robot can then take that score and it can do different things based on the score. So what we came up with is, if I've got a critical item, or if I've got a item flagged as non-critical, go ahead and just open a case for it, just log it so that we have a record of it, and then send out a notification or something like that. But if I do have, let's say, over a certain threshold, I do have a critical item where I found an issue, then I can have an additional action. So that could be opening up SAP Ariba, setting up a task, and alerting my sourcing manager that there's something that needs to be looked at. So Dalton, if you want to pull up Teams, I'll log in as well. And if you want to share your dashboard and just walk through that really quickly, that's going to be the first part of our automation here. So
you want me to wait and share through Teams, or do you want me to start the demo and get to the point that we need to have walls on the same screen?
Go ahead and get into Teams first. And if you just want to walk through everybody through the dashboard a little bit before we start it, that's probably perfect.
It's waiting for you to start the meeting.
Yep, so here we go. So we've got Teams within Zoom, and we're also going to add a remote desktop session here, guys. So we're going to have a little bit of everything today. I will mute here and
there we go. All right. All right, and I'm presenting through Teams. Are you seeing it?
Yes, we're seeing.
Okay.
I mean, I see the screen like demo notify sourcing managers.
Fantastic. So this would be a typical dashboard, right? I can see information about orders. I can see information about fulfillment. It's not one or the other. I can also see information from the billing. I can also see information about receivables. And the beauty is I'm bringing all of those data marks and all of the underlying data along with it. One of the key things that I always talk about when it has to do with analytics, and especially what we're showing today, at taking action, you can't take action on data that you don't trust. So I can see these dollar amounts, I can see these dollar amounts, I see zero billings, and I'm like, come on, that's crazy. There's got to be something there. I would immediately know I got to call somebody. Now, this happens to be SAP test data. And for this month, there was legitimately in the test data set, no data. But I can look at things, if you're familiar with SAP, days sales outstanding is one of the top metrics. Everybody tracks days sales outstanding. And now I can see days sales outstanding by orders range. And I can see how much we've been out here in these ranges. But as I look at this number and I say, well, my days sales outstanding as my KPI is 20.24, but it looks like over half of this is more than 30 days and 31% of it is over 180 days. How in the world do those numbers jive? I can't take action. I don't trust this data. The way to build that trust is by incorporating the metadata about the zeros and ones. So if I'm looking at this number and I'm like, that's not the number that I got from Bob last week on some static report, I can simply say, hey, tell me a little bit about this. It gives me the information about it, saying this is a weighted days sales outstanding calculation. The value is the sum of the number of days to clear times the line amount and then divided by the whole amount. So it's not just the days.
I'm sorry to stop you. I think we have a problem with the screens. It seems that they cannot see your screen. They only see Mo's screen now. So
Mo should be showing my screen through Teams.
So what are we are seeing the screen with only the screen with demo notifying sourcing managers. That's the only thing.
Oh, you know what? Let me it might be because PowerPoint is still in presentation mode here. So can you guys see the dashboard?
No.
How about now? Oh, you know what?
I think you've got to take my screen that you're seeing Teams and put it into Zoom share.
Here, I've got, actually, I think it was sharing an application. So let me share my entire screen. I'm sorry about that, guys. So now, do you see Dalton's dashboard?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So was the slide just up there before?
So still the dashboard only now.
Okay, great. So yeah, Dalton, if you just want to walk through it again really quickly, just for anybody who may not have been able to see the the last minute, but then yeah, if we want to keep walking through, maybe that next level of the dashboard as well.
Okay. So again, what I'm seeing now is a typical analytics dashboard. It's kind of the landing place for users, and then the analyst can choose what is it that interests them that they can dig into. I can see things like KPIs, I can see trends, I can see varieties of KPIs, I can see pretty pie charts, I can see line charts, etc. Again, the beauty is I'm seeing the orders, fulfillment, billing, and receivables. In other words, all of the data for the entire orders to cash process, not just one static report about any one or the other. Because the most important part of analyzing data is seeing the whole story, seeing it in context with each other to know what you're looking at. As I go across the KPIs, again, this could indicate a data issue. I might have something wrong with that pipeline. In particular, this one happens to be the fact that this is SAP's test data system, and it's legitimately bad. There are no billings, but it would point out, and somebody would say, hey, immediately, look, I can't trust these numbers if I'm seeing zero. I know we've sold something, so we would have to do those. Other things aren't so obvious. It's not always up, there's nothing, or it's 10 gajillion, and we know we don't sell 10 gajillion. It could be something as simple as days sales outstanding. And here I'm seeing a KPI telling me days sales outstanding is 20.24. But when I look at it by order range, I'm seeing that more than half of the orders are over 30 days. And 31% of them are 180 days or greater. Clearly, this can't possibly be the average of that. That doesn't even make sense. And the beauty, in order to be able to trust data, is seeing the metadata about the data. So if I click on that KPI, it will give me that metadata, like this is a weighted days sales outstanding calculation. The value is the sum of the days to clear times the line amount, and then divided by the sum of the line amount. And oh, by the way, you might need to know where the fields are even coming from that went into this calculation. And I can look at these. If I want to see and I want to dig deeper, okay, show me the lineage of how you even got that one field into there. I can look at it and it will show me the source. In this case, my data is actually coming from one of our own binary memory files that are encrypted because we process the data in stages. When I read the data directly out of those data marts that I showed you, I store those into one of my files. Then I go through some denormalization processes and prepare it to be consumed visually by this app or any other number of apps, any other numbers of ways. But when I'm looking at a screen, I now know what this number really is, how it differs from this number, let's say, and I can see that this is just the actual number of days, has nothing to do with an amount. And I can see that the number of accounting documents is what I'm counting as the number of orders. And if you are an SAP person, hey, by the way, the German shorthand for that is Bellner BIW. Woohoo for the German shorthand code readers. Again, I can see the fields where these things are coming from, what story it is, and I could walk through the lineage for any of this if I want to say, hey, I need to see the real picture to know, oh, this is coming from Sally Sue's Excel spreadsheet. No, I can't. No, that we're not using that one, right? Now I look at this and I say, hey, our orders are going up. Yay, Christina, you're doing a great job of bringing us orders in. And I see our fulfillment rate and I'm like, oh no, Mo, you're not doing a very good job fulfilling these orders, buddy. I need to look at this. And I can simply double click into this KPI. And what it's going to do is really within the same application, but I have multiple sheets. And I've chosen when I click that KPI to bring it up in a separate sheet in case I want to come back to see that context for it. So now I'm looking at all of our orders across all time, across all years, all months, all ship tos, all sales offices, all products, and I can see that we've shipped 191,000 on time, we've shipped 585,000 late, we've shipped 646,000 early, and that breaks down to a pretty little pie chart, something like this. If I were to click on late, right, because I want to walk into this, you can see that everything in Qlik is responsive. We have what we call an associative model. It's not like SQL joins. I'm not going back to the database now and waiting for a request to come back. All of this data from all of these data marts is there. And as I filter anything, it makes the appropriate changes in all of my charts. And I can take a look here around the world. Where are we shipping things late? Well, there's one particular location in Ardmore that stands out. It's got the highest number that shipped late. And I can see, sure enough, I've got all of these exact orders because all of the details are here, right? So if I'm in a meeting room and Christina says, hey, I don't believe there could be that many late units, I show her the order dates And the customer, like, I show her the details right there. We say, oh man, that is a problem. So I pick up the phone. Hey, what are you doing over there in Texas? You celebrating Cinco de Mayo like every day or something? You need to start shipping your stuff on time. Oh, what's that? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Oh my gosh, they're not celebrating Cinco de Mayo every day in Texas. It turns out what they feel is that we are shipping products late because we get them from the vendors late continuously. And so what I can do is say, ooh, well, let me take a look at just Ardmore, not late, and let me look at the products that they ship through there. And so now I can select the products one by one if I want and continue my analysis. Wow, gosh, that product barely gets shipped late. That's fantastic. And then I find a product like this. Oh my gosh, these guys are late all the time. No wonder. Well, let me see if it's true, if it's really the supplier who's the problem here, or if it's my staff in Ardmore. Oh, you know what? I'm glad I called him before I started a fight. That product is shipping late almost 80% of the time around the world. Around the world, this vendors are getting us this product late for whatever reason on a continuing basis. Now I would want to do a little bit of digging into my vendors. Who are the vendors supplying these things to me? I can take a look at by vendor. I can see, hey, this one vendor is clearly the weak link in the chain, right? That clearly the one supplying me more units late than anyone else, right? That is a definite issue that I would want to take some kind of, I don't know, action on, right? Because although I could find this, and this particular chart type is called a distribution plot, by the way, if you're not really familiar with graphics and analytics and visuals. And what this is showing me, each one of these dots is an order. If it's a lighter green, it's being shipped early. If it's darker green, it's being shipped on time. And when it's red, it is being shipped late. And I can see we've got a serious issue here, right? They're just late almost all the time. I need to do something about it. Now, I could see all of their details. Yay! I could see a little detailed grid, and I can see how many units were early and how many are late and how many are on time and what's my percentages and all the analytics stuff, none of which means anything, right? I've moved all of that data through a pipeline that's active, it's flowing, I've got change data capture, I'm getting latest and greatest, I'm building warehouses and lakes and data marts. That's all fantastic. Fantastic, I could find problems, but what really matters, can I take action on that? And this particular visual here is an add-in that we have for the product and from a partner called Infinity. It looks like a normal table grid, but here's where the rubber meets the road. I want to go take action, right? This is where I'm going to call Mo. So let me go ahead here for this Acme Corporation. We have big problems. They seem to be very overwhelmed. We need help for them.
Yeah, and Dalton, don't run it just yet, but as soon as you're ready, let me know.
I'm not going to press anything yet. Are we ready to start doing mixed screen for everybody?
I think we're pretty close. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I'll pause real quick. Were there any questions on this part of it? Because I think the dashboard part's really cool. And now what we want to represent is, as an analyst, I'm not just looking at this chart. It's really how I got here. The data the underlying data and sort of my different thought process to get to this point. So any questions on this part before we before we connect the UiPath piece?
We don't have so far in the chat. I just asked, but guys, if there are any questions, please feel free to unmute yourselves. You can do that and ask live now. If not, there will be a Q&A at the end.
Perfect. All right.
We have a screen issue here. Oh, no,
all right.
no more. Okay.
I think we're good now, right?
Yeah, we're good now.
All right, perfect. So you guys can still see Dalton's dashboard, and then I'm going to pull up on the right. So this is actually a remote desktop session with my unattended robot, which appears to have signed out. So give me one sec.
And I'm hearing a lot of feedback when you're talking now, Mo. I don't know if you have mic on both Zoom and Teams or what.
Let me check. Give me one sec, because on
I don't hear you at all now.
how about now?
Feedback.
All right, give me one sec. How about now?
Perfect, bud.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. Appreciate everyone's patience, but okay. So I've got my unattended robot here, and then really quickly, I just wanted to pull up my studio workflow. So what we have here is, sorry, one second.
You sound like you're from the space station, Mo.
I got you right now. Hold on once.
Yeah.
How about now? And I'll fix this. Give me one. Is it any better now?
Yeah, now it's perfect.
Okay, great. All right, so everything's good to go now. So so within my workflow, what I have is I've got my inbound arguments. So I'm getting the vendor ID, the vendor name, the analyst notes that Dalton just typed in, the percentage for late units and deliveries from his dashboard, and especially that criticality score, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an incident for all of these items, taking some of that data. We're just using ServiceNow, but this could be a case in just about any type of application. But then within my workflow, the one condition I've got is if my criticality score is over 0.5, that's the threshold we've set, go ahead and do some UI automation. So let's pull up the browser. Let's go to SAP Ariba. We'll log in, and we're going to create a supplier performance management project for the item that Dalton identified. And we're going to, just string together a couple of, different the name and description based on some of those data points that we have, and we're going to set it up. We're going to assign it to a supplier. I'm just using a test supplier here, and we can set up the what type of review we're asking for. So is it quarterly? Is it semi-annually? Is it something ad hoc? Based on how we have it set up in SAP. But the key part here is, instead of sending a Slack, instead of sending an email, I'm going through the designated process for these types of anomalies. I'm notifying the sourcing manager via the correct way. So all they have to do is go into SAP, they'll see the task, they'll see the project, they can act on it there. So I'm going through all of my, already set up processes and all of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Ariba ID, and then I'll log that in a couple of places here just to have it. But all I'm doing here is I'm getting some of those identifiers, like I'm going to get the ServiceNow number, the incident number, or the case number based on the system you're using. I'm getting that Ariba ID, and I'm going to send it back to Qlik at the end using Qlik's open API, REST APIs. So if we look at my variables here, I've got just a Qlik URL, I've got a token, and I've got those values that I'm collecting. And so for the key, as an example, I put together the vendor ID, the vendor name, and the criticality score in a format that Qlik's going to read it. So I've got these bars, these pipes in between from a formatting standpoint, but I'm going to make that call back to Qlik to send a real-time, piece of information back, and that should appear on the dashboard. So if I minimize my screen here, I've got my unattended robot here that we're just showing just for demo purposes. Dalton, if you want to set up a couple of test runs, what we've got here is we've got two items with different criticality scores. And again, as an analyst, as a consumer of the dashboard, this might look crazy to me. I see all these late items, but it doesn't necessarily have the criticality score that's going to drive an action within Ariba. The second one does. And so Dalton, if you want to set up a couple of them, let's see the workflow run.
Okay. Pause 1 second. When you were showing your canvas,
Yep.
you kind of went through something quick that I wanted to make sure the Qlik users watching this see, right? You kind of browse through it quickly, knowing your UiPath audience, go all the way back to the top.
Yep.
I wanted to get to the fact that you were going through browsers.
Yeah.
You can use APIs. We use APIs. I talked about the fact we're an open API. We can be embedded through APIs. We can enhance what we do by our open API so that other things can extend what we do, like a form that's going to collect data from Infinity and do something with it. I didn't want to skip over that for Qlik users. You have the ability with your interface to be able to read things off of web screens and put things into web screens.
Yep.
Right. To me, that was really, really cool and really the enabler for this.
Yep.
Right. Oh, sure. I could send a Slack message. One of the things I can't do is deal with a web browser that has 85 steps to logging in and getting to the right screen, getting to the right page, filling data in. And if I understood you, you are going to read the Ariba number back from the system after it's generated, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
That ability to read that data is huge to me. My background is healthcare. I don't know if there's others who, if all of you are supply chain gurus and healthcare means nothing, but there are systems like Epic and Cerner and Allscripts that, wow, if I can take an action through my dashboard as I'm seeing things that need to be done and have those actions taken in other systems, I'm really in good shape, right? So thanks for scrolling back.
Of course.
And what you mentioned was, as I do this, not only are you going to do all that cool stuff that we're going to see live, you are actually going to send me the incident number back from ServiceNow and Ariba.
Yep.
And that is possible because I have an automation. The one that I showed you before is called from me pressing the button I'm about to press. And then I have another automation that Mo gets to call. The way we build our automations, if it's going to be triggered, we give you the very easy URL and whatever input parameters you need. And so those were the things that Mo showed you. So if he passes those to me, I'm in shape. If I run this manual, I have to hand type them. And then I take those parameters and I pass them along. Again, I can have it in a nice JSON format, or I can just pass these as parameters to my partner Infinity and their SaaS solution to update the data that's there. So now that we kind of have this whole big picture, this is really a round trip. When I press this, it's not a whole lot of work for me to go press.
Yep.
What's going to happen is really what I want you to see and is really the key in this partnership. So we ready? You got all the components?
Let's go for it. Fingers crossed, everybody. But yeah, let's go for it.
All right. And you notice as soon as I press that, the form shows me when it was changed at 10:53:20.
And I've got my unattended job running here. And so because this had a low criticality score, this should just operate in the APIs with ServiceNow. So we're going to see if it works. It looks like it ran. And we've got our incident number. So that got sent back to Qlik without even a refresh, without any action on Dalton's end. It just showed right up.
That was pretty easy. Let me get another sip of my Mountain Dew Rita.
There you go. And yeah, if you want to run one with the higher criticality score, let's see if Ariba runs too.
Oh my gosh. Now, this guy, I want to go through what criticality score is. The lower the criticality score or the higher is based on the product types that this supplier has for us. Are they unique? Are they available through others? What is their cost consistency over time? Are their prices going all over the place? Do they stay consistent? And how well, what is our cost when we're late delivering those things for those particular products. And the last component to that score is, are they helping us achieve our global climate sustainability goals? So this Acme widgets that's really horrible. Fortunately, they have a very low vendor criticality score. If we needed to replace them, not a big deal. You know, it wasn't working out for Wile E. Coyote when he used all those Acme things either. So if we needed to get rid of them, whatevs, right? But this pie in the sky widgets, they do have a high vendor criticality score. Here's the thing that differentiates analytics from automation, just pure automation. This one, as I look through the numbers, I could simply set up a robot that says, look, anybody who's over half late, we do something with, just automated, right? Whether it's an alert that I send to someone to trigger reporting, whether it's, hey, I need to just go ahead and fire this in the background right when I get the data loaded, because I can call UiPath from my load script if I choose to a vendor like this, where this really needs the human touch. They are not late that much, but the red, those late ones, seems to be only after 1,000 items. Very unique and different than this, right? It's not that it's a lot, it's only 27%. The problem seems to be with large orders, right? And so my input for this is going to be, they seem to have trouble with larger orders. See what we can do to help. Can we split orders up with them and help them in that way? Do we need to ship more with them? Because now maybe they could run a second shift, or now they could afford to run a third shift. Makes sense? And so again, I'm going to do some really heavy lifting here. Oh, I pressed that save button. Right?
And here we go. I see my automation beginning. So presumably it's setting up the ticket in the background, but we should have another action as well based on that condition. So let's see. Did it not? And Dalton, you ran it for Pie in the Sky, right?
Correct. Is your Ariba maybe your tenant maybe timed out?
No, I think it's working. Give me one. Oh, you know what? My my robot timed out. Perfect timing. Sorry, give me one sec. Then there we go. Okay, so I'm just double checking that my robot is connected. I'm in, and Dalton, if you wouldn't mind running it again.
Sure. Let me come back out here. I will update.
All right, so we just started the job again.
Ooh, I better have another sip of my Mountain Dew Rita while you're doing all the heavy lifting.
There you go. Well, and it looks like we didn't get that piece to work, but you know what? Here, let me show it real quick, and then I'll take a look at the workflow. But if I run this with my default score of 0.51, let me just see if it runs what it's supposed to. So now you see it logging into Ariba. And I might have to run this one locally. I think something's going on. So apologies. Give me one sec, guys. If I pull up my automation here, I just want to show it running once, and we can actually even like troubleshoot it for a second. But and you know what? Give me one sec here.
The joys of live demos.
Yeah, we had it working all the way through yesterday evening. But okay, so what I have here, guys, just for a little bit of context again, I've got a default value of 0.51 here. So this should set up all the actions I need within Ariba. So let's just see if I can get it running real quick locally. And it is, of course, opening the browser on a screen here. And so it's going to set up that that task. and it's gonna pull the ID. And let's see, Dalton, actually, if it sent anything back to you based on that HTTP request.
Doesn't look like it.
All right, let me restart the bot on the remote session real quick, and let's see if we can run it again. If everybody bear with me for 1 sec.
Yesterday we did have a problem one time when things were minimized or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm checking, because it does have a little bit of trouble when it's on 2 different collaboration tools. So yeah, let me just double check one thing on my automation. All right, everything should be good here, and I should have the latest version of it. So Dalton, if you wouldn't mind starting it again. And is there any other way to try only pie in the sky, just to see if maybe it's only reading that Acme widget one? Sorry, here, let me try it manually one more time. I think something's just going on in my unattended session, so I apologize, guys, but
Kicked it off again.
all right, so this, I think this is one of them. Let's see if anything comes back. All right, so this one took Acme widget because I started it with the default value. So it should log out and do everything. And then there should be one more running for you, which I think I messed something up. But actually, Dalton, would you mind just real quick pulling up the automation canvas on your side? And we can just do just for a quick minute, we can just take a look at that real quick. And
so this is a good chance to show some of the technical stuff.
yeah.
One of the things with mine and that I learned from you yesterday is that you guys have a logging ability as well. I'm a big believer in logging things. So I'll show you my automation. I send an output of what my parameters were that last ran. I get to see a history of all of the runs. So I know when I called it. I can go in here and I can edit and take a look at these. And what I can do, I can run this thing manually. And I'm going to pass just some silly numbers here. But the important thing is the criticality score is going to be higher. And I'm going to submit this. And so you should have been called now for Dalton's widget company.
Yep.
And is it running through your SAP stuff on your other screen?
Let me check. Sorry, I was trying to check a couple things on my side, but yeah, let's see. Sure looks like it is, yeah.
Do you guys want us to run the second session of Menti?
Sure, yeah, give us 1 sec. Dalton, did that come back to you?
Or if it has content from what you have now on demo, we can wait.
Let's give it one more run just to see if we fixed it live. But if not, yeah, we can absolutely jump into the quiz. Dalton, if you want to pull up the dashboard again and try it one more time with the critical one, let's see if it sends it back, because it looks like it did work this time, right?
It did. And what I want to go through here is see.
We got it, yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, you want to try it one more time on the dashboard for our live audience, and then yeah, we'll absolutely jump into the last quiz. And as always, appreciate everyone's patience.
I see you kicking off.
Yep.
This is so weird for me to be typing on my screen, do something, and then look over and I see my screen.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So yeah, I've got to figure out what happened with my automation. But yeah, Christina, if you want to jump into the Menti quiz, I guess I'll pause again. Were there any questions on what we set up on either side?
No questions so far, but if any of you guys wants to open the mic and ask a question at this time.
Yeah, please.
Any questions from the audience? You guys, while we're on the Menti, will you keep working, trying to get this to run?
You can go ahead and pull the Menti up. Let me stop sharing so you can.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Okay, guys, so this is where we left off. I'm going to wait for you to join the quiz room. I'm going to repaste the code in the chat box if you somehow got out of the quiz room and you're no longer there. But I see most of you are still here. And we're going to start the second session of Menti. Okay, let's go. So, oh, let's wait. Let's wait a bit. Let's wait. Because I see not all of you are here. Let me try to do it like this to see how many of you are in the chat room. Okay, 18, that's good enough. We can go. Okay. So next question, remember guys, you have to be fast. UiPath automations can be selected in the Qlik UiPath connector by selecting processes by name in a lookup dropdown, entering the release key after finding it manually. This is a future enhancement. Okay. Okay, good. We have good answers on this one.
Oh, Christina, so the first one actually is correct. I think it might be wrong in the quiz, but
yeah, okay, I will let me stop.
Yeah, all the answers were incorrect.
Yeah, that's weird. Let me fix that now, and I will reshare it in a moment. Wait a bit, just these slides. Actually, okay. Wait. 6. Okay. So now we're good. It's an easy fix. Okay, so Matt is still leading, I see.
nice.
Yeah, okay, let's move to the last question now. So this is the 4th question and the one deciding the winner, guys. Okay, what types of UiPath automations can you invoke from Qlik? Attended, unattended, special Qlik bots. I'm hoping we have this correct, but if not, I'm going to fix it, so don't worry.
Cool.
Okay, great. So most of you guys were right. We have only 4 misses, 8 okay. Now get ready for the last leaderboard and our winner. Okay. Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think Matt got it.
Yeah, he got through 3 questions leading the board. So congrats, Matt. Please send me your email in a DM in Zoom chat now, so I can send you the voucher tomorrow or today. Congrats. on winning the quiz. Okay, and now we're back to you guys.
All right, great. So I think we saved the last bit for Q&A. So if we don't have any questions, I think we're ready for the outro. But yeah, if anybody wants to jump in over chat or on your mic with any questions, we're glad to try to answer them.
Yeah, let me check. I think everyone is able to unmute. So please, guys, now unmute and feel free to ask any questions to Mo and Dalton.
And feel free to give us
Farhad
ideas for the
opened
next
his
one.
camera. So I guess he wants to ask a question. Farhad? Farhad? Okay. Okay. Any questions? No one? No questions for this session?
So is this package already available? The package of activities for this?
Hi, Daniel.
The pack, yes. The Qlik connector to UiPath is already available. And what I was showing to you was SaaS.
Yeah.
And the connector is just automatically available if you use SaaS and add an automation. There are also Qlik Sense analytic packs available for UiPath as well. So we were showing basically call URL, but you can integrate us with UiPath as well, especially in those environments, since we're big on data integration and movement. If you have like FTP processes and things that you already have a workflow for, you can use the activity pack from Qlik to then say, hey, after I've moved these files all around and done A, B, C, D, E, and I've gone and gotten some mainframe data, I want to call Qlik and tell it to go reload its applications to be consuming the latest and greatest stuff. So freely available. We can also call UiPath not through an automation because they are a REST API and we have REST API connectors. So I've used that and other companies have used that to call processes as well, but also call it to do a load where, hey, here's an input parameter. Now go get me a whole bunch of rows of data and give it back to me. So we can do those things as well. What I showed you in terms of our SAP is an acceleration kit that we make available for proofs of concept. So if you liked the whole soup to nuts for SAP, if you're an SAP customer, feel free to reach out and we can get you that as well. And it's an accelerator ready to go. Obviously doesn't do 100% of what you may need to do, but it's available. And these workflows that we create, I can just download that and send you. It just creates a JSON package of my flow. And I've done that with Mo, where I've given him my application and my flow. And then when he connects, all he has to do is come in and say, hey, I need to change my connection, because obviously I'm not giving him my connection. He uses his own connection. So he's signed in with his keys or whatever. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yep. Yeah. Good to know.
Any more questions from the audience? Now that we haven't started.
And also feel free, as Mo mentioned when we got started, this was a use case for supply chain. Obviously, supply chain is huge around the world right now. We don't have things in stores because we got supply chain problems. So we wanted to tackle that. But we definitely plan to continue this. As soon as we get done today, we'll probably go out and get some chips and queso for Cinco de RPA Mayo day. But then we plan to get back together and start tackling additional use cases and add some more flavor to them, add some data movement as well.
One other question. Do you guys have a white paper available on these, on the Qlik integration?
We sure do.
Okay, great.
If you can, I'm going to post my email in the chat.
Yes, or if you have a download link, Dalton, for the white paper.
I don't have a link, but if you email me, I can get you the paper.
Oh, yeah, the email is in the chat.
And everything else about Qlik, you would be able to reach through qlik.com. And you can get your own SaaS tenant for free for a 30-day trial. Did I type too many I's? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and Dalton, actually for everybody on the deck that we're going to make available as part of the session with the recording, we've got a couple of links. So I think we've got a
perfect. We'll have you covered with the follow-up then. Okay, good.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll have a couple of things in there. It may not have the white paper, but I know there's a blog post about the integration as well. So if you want to send the white paper separately, I think that covers most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Cool.
Okay, then I think we can move into outro if there are not any more questions. Any other questions? No. Okay. Okay, guys, so I'm going to share my screen now and wait a bit. So just to let you know about some other things we have going in the UiPath community, we have this big program, which is actually a big catch for enterprise clients. So if you guys are from partners or for customers and you wish to give them an opportunity to have less friction with automation, this is a starter program in automation available for everyone. It's more around the automation mindset, your skills program, but centered for the first steps with Studio X, of course, but more about explaining the whole automation mindset. I will give now 2 links in the chat for this and for the next thing I'm going to tell you about, which is, of course, the state of the RPA Developer survey. This is a survey that UiPath community does annually. This is the 3rd year in a row. It's a very important survey for our community and for the whole RPA industry. It is not centered only on UiPath technology, it's for the whole RPA segment. So these insights will be publicly available for everyone once completed. So just guys, please complete the survey. It takes around 15 minutes. The links will be in chat now. So just go through these links and you have the Reboot Your Skills program and the State of the RPA Developer survey, which will run it will be open till the end of May, till May 30th. It's just 15 minutes, but please amplify it to as many peers as you can. We need a very good sample on the survey to get the right updates for the automation industry. It's centered more around the upskilling, training, work environment, pay scale, and everything that really matters to you guys. What we have next on the technology series, of course, we have the CyberArk session coming up next Thursday, May 12th. I gave this link in chat in previous, but I can reshare it. I think, let me see, for the CyberArk events. Actually, we have it here in the 50. So just if you go for our global chapters, which I shared the link already, you will find the CyberArk session there for America time, for EMEA and APJ time as well. Of course, UiPath community, you are, I think you're already familiar with all that we have to offer through Automation Cloud, Academy, free training, forum, community events, and I hope you guys registered for these global chapters in EMEA, APJ, and Americas to keep in touch with our future global events. Thank you very much for your participation. You can contact us each time and at community@uipath.com or really visit our hub at community.uipath.com. I'm going to share that in the chat too, to find the global events. Community@uipath.com is now. Okay. Thank you guys very much for today, for joining. Thank you, Dalton. Thank you, Mo. I hope this was a great session for everyone and worthy learning. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody.
Thank y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Cinco de Mayo, whether you have a Mountain Dew reader or not.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys. Thank you very much.